So I've just read in The Independent that Britain's rental sector is at boiling point as prices skyrocket and tenants compete for mouldy homes. So The Independent have interviewed a number of different people who have got challenges with rental right now. One lady's been in a property since the 90s, the landlord's not done anything, it's mouldy, and he's putting the rent up 25%. Another landlord in Scotland was selling the property. There's a rental cap in Scotland for you can't increase rents on rental properties, but because the landlord's selling, she's got to move to a different property, and the different property is more expensive. Landlord bashing means this is the landlord's fault. Well, maybe it is government policy's fault, because the government are not building enough homes. The government are not incentivizing enough new builds. And what happens? There's less and less property stock available. Now, there is rogue landlords out there, and if a landlord has had a property since the 90s and they've not done anything with it, that is absolutely unacceptable. There needs to be legislation, absolutely, but legislation will not fix the problem. It'll just send the rogue landlord under the radar. There needs more good quality landlords. A lot of people out there will say there shouldn't be landlords. Well, the government aren't providing the housing. If the government provided enough houses, there wouldn't be a housing shortage. I just bought a building off the council that's been sat empty for over 10 years. I'm converting it into 21 apartments. That will reduce rent in the area, not increase rent. It's a supply and demand issue. Maybe the government want higher capital growth for capital gains tax. Maybe they want higher capital growth in property for inheritance tax. Maybe the government do not want lots of houses with cheap rents, because if there's cheap rents and lower prices, there's less of a tax grab for the government. I've been a landlord for 10 plus years, and we provide high quality accommodation at affordable prices for tenants. Now, I would love rents to come down, but the problem you've got is mortgage rates are high. And if mortgage rates are high, rents are high. And people could go, well, that's the landlord's fault. But if there wasn't landlords, there'd be even less property available. The council are the ones providing the mouldy properties, because our councils are going bankrupt, because our councils do not have the money to do up those properties. So instead of taxing the landlord and putting more pressure on the landlord and forcing rents up, maybe the government should realize that all of those taxes on landlords on the last few years have just made the problem worse. Maybe you should be incentivizing spending money in the sector, incentivizing landlords to bring empty rundown properties back into use. The councils have got thousands and thousands of empty properties that they're not bringing back into use. So while you look at the landlord and blame the landlord for all the problems, why don't you look at the council, look at the government, and realize that the government policy is causing this issue. Maybe the government, who have got empty properties that they could bring back into use, but they don't have the money to do that, or maybe they don't want to because of the tax grab. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Comment below. Do you believe it's landlord's fault that house prices are so high? Or do you believe it's government policy that house prices are so high? I'll see you in the next video.